I think a lot of CIOs would like to push the employee agenda, especially about the IT and technology that they use. I think the problem is twofold. First of all, the investment programs for companies tends to favour front office rather than back office. And of course, all back office systems, we all know, take a long time and are really difficult to do and so on. So people tend to avoid them. I think the second big thing is digital is a really big and important subject. It's all about the customer digital. I mean, 99% of digital budgets are spent on customers, less than 1% on employees. Now we need to balance that better, and the CIO has a role to bring that voice. We've often relied on HR type people to speak on behalf of the employee, but in fact the CIO should do a lot more of that. Levels of collaboration, innovation, utilisation, even the sort of the iterativeness of actually the IT they're using is so important to get right, and the CIO absolutely has a role in that.
I think there's pockets of organisations that are doing it really well and focusing on that side of things. I think there's lots of really big organisations that seem to get lost in their own agendas and their own politics and tend to forget about the customer, forget about the employee. So I think they need to be focusing on, as I suggested earlier, the innovation type events and things like that, polling employees. I think yes, employees are a good source of understanding what the customers need, but they're not the only source.
I think it's an important one actually. The CIO role is one of the few on the exec team who work truly across end-to-end across the business. They're supposed to understand requirements, understand the business, understand different technologies and how they can be merged together to provide opportunities. So I think certainly a CIO is a key role there. And again, to my previous question, it's around about getting the balance on priorities versus consumer insight, consumer engagement and loyalty versus happy, engaged customers who provide smiley faces when they're serving people.
I think it's a tough one. I think CIOs are stretched across the whole spectrum of IT, and again, HP focuses in specific areas and brings to life within strategic partnerships the support for those CIOs. But we see CIOs stretched in lots of areas that we believe we can go and help them with. I think if you focus particularly on some of their challenges to try and prioritise across many areas of the business, yes, they're stretched. Doesn't always allow them to bring their employee experience to the fore, and sometimes that's a compromise between what's the customer experience and the employee experience internally. Sometimes that's just a difference between department and department internally, because one size doesn't fit all for the right equipment and systems, and trying to balance where to make those investments over time is a real challenge for them. And so I think if you can get it right, then yes, you win, and you win internally. And I think that experience, as we just outlined, it really does go and help the employee go and empower their customer relationships as you move forward. So yes.